Live from 2 News. This is Talkin RSL, powered by Strong Auto Group.
Good evening and welcome into Talkin RSL. I'm David James. Brian Dunseth, still bumming around Europe. He's not here in body, but he's with us in spirit. He'll be back for the game Saturday. RSL coming off a loss in Seattle. Glorious day in Seattle, 80-degree weather, blue skies. RSL trying to get the rare win on the turf. 24th minute, Seattle attacking. Nicholas Lodeiro scores his first MLS goal. Seattle on the board first. 37th minute, Dempsey holding up play. Laying it off to Lodeiro. He crosses it in. Jordan Morris heads it home, and it is 2-0 Seattle at the half. Second half, just past the hour mark. Stephen Fry trying to roll the ball out on the left side, has it taken away by Yura Movsisyan. He feeds Joao Plata, and RSL pulls the goal back 2-1. 80th minute, Dempsey in the middle of the action again. Christian Roldan now running at the RSL defense, taken down in the box. Referee awards the PK. Dempsey to take the penalty off the crossbar. RSL able to clear it. Nick Romando comes up with a big save, and that's really the last good chance of the game. RSL beaten in Seattle 2-1, the final score. So here's where things stand in the race for the playoffs. FC Dallas leads the way with 45 points. The Rapids and LA Galaxy follow in second and third. RSL fourth on 37 points. Sporting Kansas City and Portland round out the top 6. San Jose just on the outside of the playoff picture. And here's the upcoming matches for RSL. Top 3 teams in the West visit Rio Tinto Stadium in the next 3 weeks, beginning this Saturday with FC Dallas, and all 5 of the next 6 are at home. We're joined now by Justin Glad, 19-year-old center back for RSL. Justin, thanks for coming down and talking to us for a few minutes.
Thanks for having me.
So, this stretch coming up, 3 games in a row, top 3 in the West, and this is an awesome thing for media. You know, we look for storylines and all that, but I'm sure you're getting the one match at a time lecture.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff is really harping on each game at a time, and we have to take care of business. We can't look too far down the road and forget to take care of business on the field.
You've earned this long stretch of home games. Goodness knows you've been out on the road enough. But the last time you had that long stretch at home, it didn't go that well. And I think there's always the assumption with RSL fans, there's been so many years where 3 points, it just becomes automatic. You look back at that stretch, what didn't go right there? What can you change as you get another group of home games?
Yeah, we didn't win. We tied a bunch. We never lost, but it's not good enough when you're at home. That's your fortress. You gotta get those points, especially when you're not maybe winning on the road. But it comes down to us, the players. We got to put in the work and obviously score goals, defend. I feel like we've been playing pretty well. It's just maybe 1 or 2 things here that cost us the game.
You talk like a veteran. You got all the right answers. Do you feel like a veteran? I mean, you're still a teenager, but you know, you're in the middle of this playoff race, and it's pro sports, and you know, produce, or they put somebody else on the field, and they have to produce. It's like that in every sport. Do you feel that now that you're complete and you're settled in, as opposed to, hey, I'm a new guy and I hope this works out?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've been in the league for a while, even though I look at some of the older guys and they're always looking at me like, you can't be on the massage table. You're way too young. And I'm like, all right, well, my body hurts. So, but yeah, it's been a good 3 years.
Was there a point where you can look back and say, okay, things really started clicking in now? At this point, I get it. I can be part of the team. I can contribute. I can do my share. Was there a moment where you kind of crossed a line?
Yeah, I think this season, whenever you start playing games, you obviously feel more comfortable. And this season, I really have been playing. Obviously, the first season I didn't really play at all. Second season played 7 games, but this season I've played in a lot of games, and it makes you feel comfortable.
One thing I've learned getting to know soccer players, it's a little true of baseball players, not so true in football and some other sports. You guys have to make life decisions at a younger age. You know, there's multiple pathways, and you have to choose which one to take, and it's not just at one step, the next step, and, you know, going down this predetermined pattern. When did you know you wanted to be a professional soccer player? I think that's the first thing that had to click in before you made all these decisions.
Yeah, wow, that's tough. I think I always wanted to be a professional soccer player, but I never really thought it could be a reality.
Okay, when you say always, I want to break that down a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people watching this. This is probably 7-year-old rec players and their parents watching this, and then there's the 10 and 11-year-old and 12-year-old, and they're playing comp soccer. And they're trying to get on an ODP team or something. Like, at what point, when you say always, how far back? I mean, really, you're 5 years old going to your first day at kindergarten and you knew.
Yeah.
It was that early.
Yeah. But then again, at that time, I'd go to these games thinking, not with the mindset, I'm going to be here one day. It was, man, it'd be cool to be there one day. I think the reality kind of hit when they first offered me a contract. And even that was 17 years old, just after my 16th birthday. And that was, I don't know, at that point, that's when I was like, wow, this is real.
How long were you in the academy?
A year and a half.
Okay, and you're an LA kid, right?
I was born in Pasadena, and then I moved to Seattle. I actually spent most of my early childhood in Seattle, and then in high school.
So you didn't think when you moved from Seattle to Arizona, like moving to Arizona to the academy, it didn't set into you then?
Well, that's actually funny that you asked. I didn't know the academy existed when I moved to Arizona. So from Seattle, we moved to Tucson because my grandparents lived in Sierra Vista, which is about an hour away from Tucson. And then a couple years into that, 2 of my buddies on my club team went to the academy and they said, hey, you should try out. And I was like, yeah, whatever. I guess I'll try out. And then
But you didn't really know what you were trying out for.
No, I just knew it was a different level. It was a higher level than club, and they said I should do it, and I did it.
Well, maybe I oversold the you making choices part of this discussion then. Okay, so you're in the academy, and you're looking good, and everybody in the soccer community knows to check out the academies for talent. So you got pros looking at you, but you also got colleges looking at you.
Yeah.
Now, you had an offer to Stanford. And I know a lot of people hear Stanford and think, wow, Willy Wonka, golden ticket.
Yeah.
Stanford.
Yeah.
And you had to weigh the decision, and you decided not to go to Stanford and go pro. What went into that?
A lot went into that. There were a lot of family discussions. We talked to a lot of people, coaches, teachers, to get different points of view and stuff. And in the end, picked going pro. I think education is very important, obviously, stay in school, kids. But at this point, it was my dream. And right now, I'm actually taking college classes, so it's not one or the other, but I thought I might as well follow my dream.
Okay, so another question that comes up. I know a lot of people, when you're pursuing professional soccer, you make a lot of sacrifices. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of investments before you get the payoff, and you don't know the payoff's coming. Yeah. But academically, it can be the same deal. I mean, to get into Stanford, the grades, the test scores, again, it's a huge investment. Time, energy, focus. Did you ever have a problem juggling the two? I mean, you had to be on a pretty good academic track or Stanford's not looking at you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was kind of ingrained in me since I was young just to do well in school. So I think once Stanford did approach, it was kind of, they said, here, he's a good soccer player, and he's also a good student. I think that might have been part of their interest. So that didn't really weigh in too much when I thought about all the time and effort I put into school.
So when you pick soccer and the pros specifically and decide I'm not going to Stanford, from the point that you make that decision to the point where you become really kind of an automatic name that's written in the starting 11, was there ever a point where you look back and think, I wonder if I did this right?
Yeah, I actually have a teammate from the academy, Corey Baird, who he's always sending me Snapchats and stuff on the Stanford campus. I'm like, wow, that's but you live with the decision you make, and at this point I'm very happy. There was also the injury. I've had 2 knee surgeries in the off season, and that was a little tough. I was thinking, what if this doesn't pay off? What happens next? But they've both been really minor. Nothing that would end a career or anything. So it's been helpful to see that where I was 3 years ago to now.
So now looking forward, I've read stuff about how you've played your way, and this is a total internet term. But you played your way to the edge of national team consideration. Do you hear that, or is that something that's like bouncing out around in the universe that doesn't really affect your life?
Yeah, it doesn't really affect me too much. I see an article here and there, but I try to kind of ignore it. And then obviously if it happened, I'd be super grateful and it'd be an awesome experience. But I'm not waiting around for it. I need to keep doing what I'm doing, and if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. So for these next few games, you're going to see some big names. I mean, you are going to see some talented teams. Have you gotten over that part of it? I mean, because when you're first, Clint Dempsey last week, that's a huge name.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Juvat. That's a huge name. I mean, you're going through the league, you keep seeing these huge names. At what point do you get past that kind of wow?
The more you play, the less nervous I get before games now. Even though I've only been playing for a season, I'm looking at these teams like, yeah, they got some good players, but nothing that's out of this world, nothing we can't handle. And obviously, with the players around me, I'm super confident that if I mess up, they got my back. So I look at it as a challenge. Look, I got this guy this week, this guy next week. I'll do the best I can and hopefully shut them down.
All right, well, it's a series of 3 good teams in a row coming in to face RSL. You'll be tested each and every week. We look forward to watching you play. Justin, thanks for a few minutes getting to know you here on Talkin Sports.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Justin Glad joining us here. Remember, you can catch RSL and FC Dallas this Saturday right here on My Utah TV. First kick at 8 o'clock. Our pregame coverage starts at 7:30 on your home for RSL Soccer, KMYU. And be sure to follow us on social media. I'm on Twitter and Facebook at David DJ James. Dunny's on Twitter and Instagram at Brian Dunseth, and on Facebook at Brian Dunseth1. Stay with us. Reports from BYU and Utah's football camps, plus the first game of the high school football season, which is the first game for a couple of schools. That's next. Stay with us.